This is the wrap-up of lesson 83.B, 8.3b, the examples 5 and 6 of geometric series. Today we're finding the sum of finite geometric series. That sum is given by the formula S for sum, N for the number of terms that you're summing, equals the first term, a sub 1, times 1 minus the common ratio to the nth power, divided by 1 minus that common ratio. So for example, if I'm looking at example 5, in your textbook, this is on the top of page 429. Also, if you're interested, back on page 428, they give the derivation of this formula, sort of like if you remember finding the integer version of a repeating decimal. If you don't, it doesn't matter. This is the heart of what we're going. The other is for interest. So looking at example 5, they asked you to find the sum as k ranges from 1 to 10 of 4 times 3 to the k minus 1. So first is the first term. Well, there it is as we recognize that formula. So a sub 1 is 4. It's being raised, or it's being multiplied by 3, raised to the 1 minus 1 power, which is 0. So the first term is going to look like just 4 itself. The next thing we need to do is to identify the common ratio. Well, from the formula, we remember a sub 1, common ratio. So the common ratio is 3. At that point, all we have to do is plug it in to our formula. So the sum of the first 10 terms is 4, that's the first term, times 1 minus that common ratio raised to the nth power, which in this case is 10, divided by 1 minus the common ratio. Plug that into your calculator in one step, and out will come 118,096. Remember that you can do this with your calculator. Look at the sidebar at the top of 429 where it's showing you a calculator screen. If I want to use my calculator to check, from your home screen, do second stat, take your arrow cursor over to the math menu, and choose 5, which is the sum. Your screen at that point shows sum with a parentheses. To fill in that parentheses, go back at that point still on your screen, second stat, go to ops, and choose 5, which is the sequence. And at that point, it brings you to a menu. The menu is asking you for an expression. That's where you're putting in the sum that you're, or the expression that you're finding the sum for. In this case, 4 times 3 to the x minus 1. You can use some other variable. X is just the easiest because when you push that x key, there it is. Otherwise, I'm going to alphabet and down to the letter that I want to use. I don't see any point in doing that. The variable is x. I'm pushing that x key. It starts at 1. That's the beginning index. And that index ranges to 10. So the end is 10. You want to go step by step. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Paste, press enter again. And out should come 118,096. The second example, look in your book. It has a technique for solving that might make it easier. They call it a real-life problem, so right away you know it's a word problem. And they give you a formula that looks like a numerator, which is L, well, you can read it. L is the loan amount in dollars. RI is the monthly interest rate. Remember that interest always needs to be in a decimal form. And T was the time, the term of the loan, which is the time that loan lasts in months. You are asked to calculate the monthly payment on a 5-year loan for $20,000 with an annual interest rate of 6%. So look at step 1. The first thing they did was substitute into that formula $20,000 for L, the monthly interest rate. So they took that annual interest rate of 6% and divided it by 12. So 0.06 divided by 12 was the monthly interest rate, so 0.005. Plug that into the formula. And the time in months, it's 5 years, 12 months, so 5 times 12 was 60 months. Once they have that, look at step 2. It's a handy practice. You could try it or not. You could enter that whole thing as one, or break it down into pieces and then use the calculator the way they showed you to figure out the monthly payment. It's one to step through with your calculator in hand, hard to show you with my count, I don't think they would show up. But they have a great one in your book, and that's what you should be looking at. Look at monitoring progress, number 7. 7 and 8. 8 will be on your own. I'll tell you what the answer is. You can use your calculator to check. For number 7, you are doing the sum from k equals 1 to 8 of 5 to the k minus 1. And so we're looking at that, our formula. How am I going to show up? So S of n, or S of 8 in this case, because we're going from 1 to 8 terms. S of 8 is going to be 1. That first, this is my common ratio, so that missing number right there is 1, so I can have 1. I don't really need to write it. 1 minus 5 to the 8 divided by 1 minus 5. I'm going to calculate, so on your calculator, plug it in just the way you've written it. 1 parentheses, 1 minus 5 to the 8. Make sure that this is in parentheses, divided by 1 minus 5, and out should come 97,656. Check with your calculator using this process if you want to. That was number 7. Number 8. Was asking you to find the sum as I ranges from 1 to 12 of 6 times negative 2 to the I minus 1. So plugging into our formula, this time I've got 12 terms, so S of 12 equals that first term, so 6 times 1 minus that negative 2, so I'm going to have 1 plus 2. We'll leave it, just leave it. 1 minus negative 12, will take care of it, to the negative 2, this is 80, to the 12th power, divided by 1 minus that negative 2. I'm going to plug it into my calculator. I'm going to have 6, 1 minus 12 to the 12th, over 1 plus 2, minus 2 to the 12th. And that's going to be negative 8,190. We have a positive number when I raise that to that even power, and so 1 minus 2 to the 12th, in case we're stuck on that. And then number 9. Asks you to find the sum as t ranges from 1 to 7 of negative 16 times 0.5 to the t minus 1. So plugging back into our formula, we have that sum at 7 terms is the first term, so negative 16 times 1 minus our common ratio of 0.5 raised to the nth power, which is 7, divided by 1 minus 0.5. I'm plugging that in, and when you do that, you should end up with negative 31.75, or there's rounding, depending on how you do it. If you get close, 31.999, somewhere in there. I did it 2 ways and got 2 different answers, just depends on how you round. And look at number 10, that monthly payment. Walk through with your calculator. Should be $375, and when you round to money, 77 cents. Again, somewhere in that ballpark, because it will vary depending on how you do it. This ends lesson 8.3. Homework are 2 worksheets, 8.3 B1 and 2, those 2 worksheets which are found in topics, and we'll get back together later. See you then.